Greetings, explorers of shadows and seekers of hidden truth. Welcome to the portal of the unknown, where we delve into ancient texts to uncover the cosmic forces shaping the fate of creation. Today we focus on a vision full of symbolism and power, the apocalypse of Abraham, and the decisive role of Michael, the Archangel, in the final battle against Satan and his hosts. The Apocalypse of Abraham is a profound and mysterious text that offers a glimpse into the celestial struggles at the very heart of our existence. In this apocalyptic vision, Abraham is shown a divine revelation of the cosmic war between the forces of good and evil, and Michael, the prince of the heavenly host, emerges as the ultimate warrior in this eternal conflict. The text unveils the roles of the archangels, with Michael standing as the leader of the divine army, prepared to confront the forces of darkness. It's in these moments of spiritual warfare that we see the true power of Michael's authority and his unwavering commitment to the will of God. He is not only a defender of the faithful, but a symbol of divine justice, ready to strike down the forces of evil that threaten the divine order of the universe. Satan, in his relentless desire to corrupt and destroy, wages a spiritual war against humanity, tempting, deceiving, and turning souls away from their divine purpose. The Apocalypse of Abraham depicts the battle between Michael and Satan in vivid imagery, a clash of celestial might that mirrors the struggle between light and darkness within each of us. The fate of creation hinges on this battle as the forces of good, led by Michael, strive to uphold divine justice and cleanse the world of evil. The narrative in the Apocalypse of Abraham draws us into the heart of this cosmic war, urging us to reflect on our own place in the unfolding story. Are we aligned with the forces of light, or do we too become swept up in the chaos of the spiritual battlefield? The outcome of the final battle is certain, for the divine will cannot be thwarted, but our individual choices play a crucial role in determining our destiny. As we explore the Apocalypse of Abraham, we encounter not only a prophecy of the end times, but a call to vigilance and faith. The battle against Satan is ongoing, and the forces of darkness seek to undermine the very foundation of truth and light. But in the face of this overwhelming opposition, the archangels stand firm, ever ready to fight for the righteous and to preserve the divine plan. Stay with us as we continue to uncover the hidden truths of this ancient text. As the final battle approaches, we must choose which side we stand on. Will we join Michael in the fight against darkness, or will we succumb to the temptations of the fallen? The choice, as always, is ours. The battle continues, and the revelation of truth is just beginning. In the Apocalypse of Abraham, we are led to a cosmic altar where light and darkness clash in a conflict that determines the fate of all humanity. Abraham, the father of faith, witnesses a terrifying vision. A great dragon, symbolizing the power of Satan, faces off against Michael, the leader of the heavenly host, shining like the rising sun. This scene, rich in symbolism, echoes the battle described in Revelation chapter 12, verse 7, where Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon with his angels did not prevail. The image of the dragon is a classic representation of evil, of the fallen forces that seek to corrupt and destroy all that is good and pure. It represents Satan's constant opposition to the divine plan, and the struggle against it reflects the spiritual battle that takes place on every level of reality. In contrast, Michael, with his glorious presence, reflects celestial light, divine authority that cannot be defeated by darkness. The fact that Michael is described as shining like the rising sun suggests not only his purity, but also his fundamental role in bringing divine justice and restoring cosmic order. This confrontation, unfolding in the Apocalypse of Abraham, is not just a battle between spiritual beings, but also a reflection of the internal struggle each human faces. The battle between light and darkness within our very souls. The dragon, with his lies, tries to lead us astray from the path of truth, while Michael, with God's strength, guides us toward redemption and salvation. This scenario directly connects to the passage in Revelation, where the celestial battle symbolizes the triumph of good over evil. While the forces of darkness rise with great power, the final victory has already been secured. The struggle is not in vain, and Michael, as the leader of the divine forces, has the power and authority to defeat the dragon and his hosts. The verse from Revelation 12:7 assures us that the dragon with his angels did not prevail, a testimony to the supremacy of good, light, and truth. Abraham's vision invites us to reflect on the nature of this cosmic battle. It is not only a conflict of celestial proportions, but also a personal choice that each of us must make. Will we be allies of light like Michael and his angels, or will we allow ourselves to be seduced by the darkness of the dragon? In every moment of our lives, we face a version of this struggle, whether in everyday temptations, spiritual doubts, or the choices we make about how to live and follow the truth. The image of Michael as the leader of the heavenly host brings an indomitable hope. The final battle, while intense, is not eternal. The forces of darkness, as powerful as they may seem, are doomed to fall before the unbeatable light of God. Just as in Abraham's vision, the victory of light over darkness is not merely a distant prophecy, but a truth that manifests in our lives when we choose to walk in the path of divine justice. Michael's presence at the heart of this cosmic battle is not just a display of strength, but a reflection of divine justice. He is God's champion, the defender of Israel and humanity, appointed to expel the forces of evil and restore celestial order. His flaming sword is the symbol of judgment, a weapon designed to separate the righteous from the wicked on the day of the Lord. Michael is not merely a celestial warrior. He is the personification of God's will in action. His mission goes beyond mere defense. He is the executor of God's plan for the purification of the universe, an agent of transformation bringing order to the chaos caused by the forces of darkness. His sword, which glows with the fire of judgment, symbolizes the clarity and purity of God's justice. It cuts through lies, temptations, and darkness, separating good from evil, light from shadow. Michael's flaming sword is also a reminder of the severity of divine judgment. In Revelation 19:15, the final judgment is described, where Christ, with a sword coming from his mouth, destroys the forces of darkness. Michael, in his role as commander of the heavenly host, plays a similar role, leading God's armies against the enemies of God. His sword does not just cut, but purifies, destroying all that opposes God's will and allowing true justice to prevail. This moment of final judgment, represented by Michael's presence, is a cosmic event of immense proportions. It does not occur in a distant realm, but has profound repercussions for all beings. Michael's justice is not just about the fate of the fallen angels or the demonic forces, but about each one of us. When Michael's sword descends, it will be the moment of final separation. Those who chose to follow the truth and light will be restored, while those who turned away from God will face the consequences of their crooked paths. Thus, Michael's presence is not only a force of destruction against evil, but also an invitation to reflection and repentance. He reminds us that divine justice, though unwavering and relentless against evil, is also accessible to those who seek truth and redemption. Michael's sword, like divine light, brings the promise of restoration and perfect celestial order, but also warns of the gravity of the choices we make on our spiritual journey. Michael, as the defender of the righteous, calls us to the inner spiritual battle that we all must face. He guides us, but also demands that we take a stand. It is not just a distant cosmic conflict, but a daily struggle that requires courage, faith, and fidelity to the truth. He is the model of the spiritual warrior, reminding us that true power comes not from brute force, but from divine justice and faithfulness to the Creator. Satan's role as the accuser and adversary is central in the cosmic drama. He challenges creation itself, seeking to corrupt humanity with pride and disobedience. His attempts to lead people astray, to provoke rebellion, and to seduce with promises of power reflect his nature as the ultimate antagonist of divine order. In many ways, Satan's purpose is to undermine God's creation, tempting humanity to defy the Creator and reject divine authority. However, the Apocalypse of Abraham reminds us that Satan's victory is nothing more than an illusory, fleeting moment. Though his influence might seem vast and his power mighty, it is destined to be shattered by the intervention of divine will. The truth of this battle is revealed in the Apocalypse of Abraham, where the figure of Michael, the Archangel, stands as the instrument of God's divine purpose, poised to bring an end to Satan's reign of deception and destruction. Michael, in his role as the celestial defender, is sent by God with immeasurable power to chain Satan, just as he did with the fallen angels in the Book of Enoch. In the ancient texts, the Archangel Michael is depicted as the one who binds the Watchers, the rebellious angels who, in their pride, descended to earth and corrupted humanity by teaching forbidden knowledge. Michael's task was not just to imprison them, but to restore order to the universe and prevent further corruption from spreading throughout the world. In the Apocalypse of Abraham, this act of binding Satan is symbolized as a cosmic victory, a reaffirmation that the forces of evil will not endure. Michael's power to subdue Satan shows the ultimate authority of God's plan, which remains unshakable even in the face of rebellion. The enemy, though formidable in his deceit, is bound by divine justice, ensuring that his influence will be temporary and that ultimate victory will belong to God. This moment of restraint and victory is a reminder to us all. No matter how powerful the forces of darkness may seem, they are subject to the divine will. The boundless and eternal power of God will always triumph over the fleeting efforts of Satan and his minions. The Apocalypse of Abraham and its portrayal of Michael's intervention speak to the heart of this truth. Satan may rage against creation, but his end is certain, and God's will be done. The vision presented in this text gives hope to all who struggle against the temptations and trials of life. While Satan may attempt to lure us with promises of power and pride, just as he did with the first humans, his end is already determined. The divine victory is assured, and Michael, in his unwavering duty, stands as a beacon of hope and a reminder that the darkness, though powerful, is not eternal. The battle is not merely physical, it is a spiritual war. Every movement of Michael symbolizes the purification of the human soul and the triumph over the forces that imprison hearts and minds. Michael's role is not just to defeat physical enemies, but to wage a battle against the spiritual powers that seek to corrupt and enslave humanity. His actions reflect a divine will that is focused on the restoration of purity, light, and justice, seeking to separate the righteous from the wicked. As the Archangel of divine justice, Michael stands as the agent of purification, guiding souls away from temptation and into the safety of God's grace. The symbolism of the altar, where sacrifices are offered, is a profound image in this spiritual struggle. The altar represents the sacrifice of self-will and the offering of one's life to a higher purpose, the submission to divine judgment. Just as sacrifices in ancient rites were meant to purify and sanctify, so too is the soul offered on the altar of divine justice, where it is either redeemed or judged. This image reflects the eternal choice between light and darkness, good and evil, a choice that every soul must make, just as Abraham faced his own test at the altar. In this cosmic struggle, the altar becomes a symbol of judgment, a reminder that every human being will, at some point, find themselves in front of the altar of divine decision. Just as Abraham was tested in his faith and obedience, so are we. The altar represents the place of decision, where each soul must choose whether to align with the divine light or to be consumed by the darkness of sin and rebellion. The decision is not just a momentary choice, but an eternal one, reflecting the consequences of every action, thought, and desire. This symbolism serves as a constant reminder that we are all part of a larger, ongoing spiritual battle. We may not always see the forces at work, but the struggle is real. The forces of evil and corruption continually try to sway us, to bind us in chains of pride, temptation, and disobedience. But the flaming sword of Michael, the purity of his mission, and the eternal choice presented to us are all part of the divine plan. The altar, the place of sacrifice, becomes a point of reflection for each of us. In the end, we must ask ourselves, will we allow the light to purify us, or will we be consumed by the darkness? The spiritual war that Michael leads is not just an external battle, but a personal one for each individual. The altar represents the crossroads of our journey, where we must decide who we will serve, the Creator or the adversary. It's in these moments of decision, where we stand before the altar of our own choices, that we shape our eternal fate. Just as Abraham's faith was tested on the altar, so too are we tested in our own lives, called to choose the light to embrace divine will, and to offer our hearts and souls as living sacrifices to God's plan. The Apocalypse of Abraham unites Jewish and Christian traditions, pointing to a future of redemption and renewal. In this text, Michael's role transcends that of a mere warrior. He is also the advocate of souls, the one who rises to defend those who choose justice and righteousness. His function is not limited to battle, but extends into the realm of intercession, where he stands before God, pleading on behalf of humanity. Just as he leads the celestial army in war against the forces of darkness, Michael also serves as the protector and defender of those who are faithful to God's will. In this sense, he embodies the bridge between divine judgment and mercy, guiding souls through the spiritual battlefield and ensuring that those who remain steadfast in their faith have a defender in the face of overwhelming evil. The Apocalypse of Abraham challenges us to confront profound questions about our own spiritual state. It invites us to reflect on whether we are prepared for the final judgment, a moment when the true nature of every soul will be revealed. This judgment, as symbolized in the cosmic battle of light versus darkness, is not merely a distant event but a present reality. The spiritual warfare described in the text is ongoing, invisible to the human eye, yet deeply affecting every moment of our lives. Satan and his forces of darkness still attempt to lead us astray, to cloud our judgment, and to distort our perception of what is good and true. Yet, the Apocalypse of Abraham offers us hope in the figure of Michael, who serves as a reminder that we are not abandoned to our fate in this battle. His intercession as the advocate of souls assures us that divine justice does not operate in isolation, but is accompanied by mercy. For those who choose to align themselves with God's will, there is a path to redemption, a path where Michael, the spiritual warrior, stands as the protector and defender against the forces of darkness. But the question still remains: are we aware of the invisible battle that rages around us? Do we recognize the temptations and influences that seek to pull us away from the light? The Apocalypse of Abraham calls us to not only acknowledge the reality of this battle, but to actively prepare for it. This preparation requires us to embrace the virtues of faith, humility, and obedience, to become aware of the ways in which we too are participants in this cosmic struggle. Ultimately, the Apocalypse of Abraham is not just a vision of cosmic events, but a personal invitation to examine our own hearts and souls. Are we prepared to stand with Michael, the advocate, on the side of justice and light? Will we remain vigilant in our faith, knowing that the final judgment is not simply an external event, but a moment that will reveal the truth of our inner lives? The future of redemption and renewal is not far off, and it depends on the choices we make today. The symbols of the dragon, the sword, and the altar echo through the centuries, reminding us that the celestial war has not ended. These symbols are not mere representations of past events. They are living, active forces that continue to shape the world around us and within us. The dragon, representing the forces of evil and corruption, is not confined to ancient texts. It is a present reality, manifesting in the temptations we face, the deceitful influences that try to lead us astray, and the constant pull of pride and disobedience that seeks to turn us away from the path of righteousness. The sword, the weapon wielded by Michael and the symbol of divine justice, reminds us that the battle is not one of mere flesh and blood, but of spiritual warfare. Each decision we make is a strike in this ongoing battle, a choice between the forces of light and darkness. The sword represents not only the judgment that will one day separate the righteous from the wicked, but also the protection it offers to those who choose the path of light. Just as the sword of Michael cuts through the forces of evil, so too must we wield the sword of truth in our own lives to combat the lies and temptations that threaten our spiritual well-being. And then there is the altar, a place of sacrifice, decision, and judgment. The altar symbolizes the sacrifice of our wills and desires in service to a higher purpose. It calls us to reflect on our daily choices and the way we offer ourselves to the divine. The altar is not just a physical space. It represents the place where we make the eternal decision of whether we will align ourselves with God's will or fall prey to the forces of darkness. Every time we choose the light, we are offering ourselves on the altar, committing to walk in the way of faith, obedience, and humility. These symbols, dragon, sword, and altar, are not ancient relics of a past war. They are present realities that continue to shape the spiritual conflict we experience today. The celestial war is not a battle fought in the distant past or a distant future. It is happening right now, in every decision, in every temptation, and in every choice we make. As Michael stands ready to battle the forces of evil, so too must we stand firm in our faith, wield the sword of truth, and offer ourselves on the altar of sacrifice, choosing the path of righteousness each day. This ongoing conflict between good and evil, between the light and the darkness, is not only a cosmic struggle, it is a deeply personal one. It takes place within us, in the very depths of our hearts and souls. Every time we face a decision, every time we are confronted by temptation, we are standing at the altar, ready to either choose the way of the dragon or the way of Michael, the champion of God. The battle continues, and its outcome depends on the choices we make in the quiet moments of our lives. Will we remain faithful to the light, or will we be swayed by the darkness? The intervention of Michael in the Apocalypse of Abraham serves as a powerful invitation to action. He does not fight alone, but stands in the name of faith and obedience to the Creator. His victory is not just a divine triumph, it is a call for each of us to take part in the spiritual battle. Just as Daniel 12 verse prophesies, at that time Michael, the great prince who stands for the children of your people, will arise. We are reminded that Michael's role is not merely one of celestial warfare, but a divine intervention that calls us to awaken and stand firm in our faith. The battle that Michael faces in the Apocalypse of Abraham is more than an ancient narrative. It is a continuous struggle that is actively unfolding in the world today, and we are all called to participate. His sword is the truth, and his strength lies in his unwavering obedience to the will of God. Michael's intervention serves as a reminder for us to resist the powers of darkness in our own lives, armed with the weapons of righteousness and justice. Just as Michael stood firm in battle, so must we stand against the forces that seek to deceive and destroy, resisting the pull of temptation, pride, and sin. This confrontation between the forces of light and darkness is not distant or detached. It is a present and personal reality. Each of us is called to take up the challenge to remain steadfast in the face of spiritual battles, whether they come in the form of temptation, confusion, or doubt. The question is not if the battle will come, it is already here. And the question remains, what role will you play in this cosmic struggle? Will you choose the way of light, like Michael, or will you succumb to the darkness? The judgment is not simply something that will occur in a distant future. It is happening now in the choices we make today. If this truth resonates with you, and if you seek to uncover more of the hidden secrets of the spiritual realm, join us in the portal of the unknown. The battle for the destiny of the human soul is far from over. The light and darkness still stand, waiting for those who will take a stand in the final conflict. What part will you play in the unfolding drama of the ages? The choice is yours. Let the judgment begin.